Good morning, ATD family. It has been a couple of weeks since we've seen you. Had to take a little R&R. Bill and I, we travel so much. Sometimes we just need a little break. We are family time. So last week we took off, but we're back ready to go. We got a lot of baseball to talk about. Lots of things happened in the last 2 weeks. We're going to start ATD as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
I'm doing great. I'm not going to complain. It's early on my coast. It's about mid-morning for your coast, so life is good. For you ATD fans and family, make sure you're checking out TopFanRivalry.com. Go check out the locker room. It's now 25 bucks. Use the discount code ATD. Go get yourself a 4th of July shirt. It's a nice patriotic shirt that doesn't have to just be for a 4th of July. Go get yourself some new gear. Subscribe to the t-shirt club. We're gonna send you a t-shirt every month. Yeah, these things have been flying off the shelf. So go do that. So Sam, that's all I got to say this morning. Drop the mic. What are we talking about?
I love it. Throwing in the promo early, getting it out to the fan base so they know where to go to get in this league. Fan made, fan created. TopFanRivalry.com. Get there. We are going to start this episode off in a real heartwarming note. Last week, the baseball world lost one of, if not the greatest baseball player to walk onto the field. The Say Hey kid, Willie Mays, unfortunately, at the age of 93, has passed away. As a Giants fan, it's really hard to just to talk about. In my household growing up, Willie Mays' birthday was a national holiday, according to my dad. So it was treated just like the 4th of July, if not more important. But just looking at his, 3,000 games played, he had more hits than games played. He had 3,000, almost 3,300 hits, 660 home runs, 1,900 RBIs. I mean, Bill, like some of these stats for the Great Willie, I mean, it's just there's not enough good things I could say about him. But Bill, what about you? I mean, as a
Same,
Dodgers,
same. There's nothing I could say negative about Willie. The only thing I can say negative is I want to meet the sports writers that didn't vote for him for the Hall of Fame because he didn't get 100% of the vote, and I do not know why. I hope that those sports writers just forgot to mail in their ballots or forgot to call in or whatever, because it just doesn't make sense to me. We've seen the iconic catch. You've got a picture here of him playing stickball. Very iconic moment. Look, I mean, he's ripped. He is ripped, and nobody realizes, how I would love to interview one of these young kids that's in the background watching Willie play. I mean, how cool would that be in that picture?
I like
So
it's amazing. Not only was Willie such a highlight on the field, he was even more of a highlight off. Being out in the community in New York, in San Francisco, taking the time away, serving the military and protect our great nation. I mean, as we go into the 4th of July, I mean, just there's there aren't enough words to describe what Willie did for this league. You look at what Jackie Robinson did in this league and how he helped break the color barrier. Willie is right up there with him in breaking that barrier down and just shattering. So we say, hey, Willie May, rest in peace. There is not one baseball fan on this planet, I can assure you, that will not miss your charismatic personality, the joy, the love you brought to the field every day. You know, you will be tremendously missed, not only by the baseball community, but by the world. So we commend you. Now we're gonna flip this because we've been talking. This is really a touching moment for me, but we're gonna talk about something that's been still griping us all, and what we're gonna be talking about are bad umpires coming back into baseball. Bill, we had an issue earlier this week. Edwin Diaz for the Mets seems due to some stickiness on his hands.
Mhm. Yep. So, okay, I'm going to give you a
Talk
30
about that.
I'm going to give you a 30-second breakdown on this. And I've said this a lot on the morning show and in the leagues. I've said this a couple of different times. Here's the deal. If Edwin Diaz would have came in with second and third and nobody out, up by a run, okay, now we may have a problem. But he comes in starting a new inning up by 3 on the road in Chicago to a very struggling team. So there's a lot of difference there, in my opinion. Now, um, in a case where you're starting a new inning, if it feels sticky and it feels like it might be rosin and sweat, why doesn't an umpire walk him down into the tunnel and have him wash his hands? I don't understand. You see the picture of his hand, it doesn't look like there's anything on there. Looks like that's probably rosin. So, but when you kick a closer out and then he's going to get suspended for 10 games, here's how this plays out. You suspend a starting pitcher for 10 games, he misses one, maybe two starts, right? Depending on how deep your staff is. You suspend a closer, that could be anywhere from 6 to 8 appearances, 6 to 8 games. That's pretty steep.
And
So
that's not taking into consideration the games he's already missed this season
correct,
due to injury.
correct. So I I'm this thing drives me nuts. This thing absolutely drives me nuts. You come in to start an inning, especially a guy like this who's a marquee closer. Why doesn't this guy that's throwing him out? Why doesn't he say, "Walk in the tunnel with me. I want to watch you wash your. I'm going to watch you wash your hands. We're going to come back out." It's not.
Would you feel though that that's getting special treatment because you have other pitchers that get kicked out for the same thing, and that may not be marquee? But are you going to say that
They did it to Max Scherzer.
they don't have the right to get the same? Like,
They did it to Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer, when that happened, they actually walked him down into the tunnel and had him wash his hands.
so I mean, I haven't seen as much of Ellie as Mets Meg, and I know you have multiple conversations with her weekly. Has Edwin had previous like call outs of like,
No,
okay, because what I was gonna say was, is if this had been something that he had done previously, I could see it being more serious towards him. If this is a
yeah,
once or maybe a twice thing, then I agree with you. Maybe giving him that treatment to just say, hey, let's go wash your hands. Let's see if this can come off. And then if it can't come off, then go. But kicking him right out might be a little aggressive. Are we seeing the umpires becoming more egregious,
yes,
or are they just being more held to the fire?
no, they're being more egregious. So here's the thing. We've said this before too, right? Umpires are there to make sure that the game is fair. That's it. They're not to insert themselves in the game. They're not to do anything that is drastic. Now, I love to interview this umpire that's tossing them out. Because I'd love to see, what the inside scoop is. We only see him walk out, him touch his hands, bring somebody over, touch his hands again, and then kick him out. But I, you know, umpires need to stop inserting themselves in the game.
Right.
You're there just to call the game and make it fair. Don't insert yourself in the game.
Last question, real quick. When is MLB and the MLB Umpires Association going to start holding the umpires? What is going to be the final straw that breaks the camel's back?
So honestly I think that it's going to start happening at the end of the season because you have so many now. You have so many, so very many people who are watching these things. You've got cameras everywhere now. It's different than it was 20 years ago. You have cell phone cameras everywhere. You have everything that you need. And then you actually have websites that rate umpires. And
Yep.
so,
Instagram, they have them all over, and it is very interesting if you watch and you
mhm.
look at some of those. Um, it's an interesting take on that. I agree. I think waiting till the end of the year is waiting 87, 88 games too long. And I think we're about 70 something games too late. You
Yeah.
know,
The only thing is you can't make any significant changes in the middle of the season. So you have to do it at some point where you can make significant change. I agree with you, but it's yeah, umpires, stop inserting yourself in the game. If you need help with that, give me a call.
but Bill promises he will not send you to voicemail.
Hmm.
Let's get into the standings this week. I will take the American League. Looking at the AL, the Orioles are on top in the American League East, but it is, do not look at that as like a great thing. They is literally just because they have played two less games than the Yankees at this point. But they are more or less tied. Red Sox holding third and coming back strong. Looking at the AL Central, you got the Guardians on top. The Twins are still fighting, and the Royals are staying competitive. They're really trying to hold the Twins' feet to the fire. But to watch, we were definitely projecting a lot of. We were not projecting this division to be as good as it was. So I'm pleasantly surprised the AL Central is doing as good as it is. Moving over to the West, the Mariners are putting their foot on the chest of the Astros and burying them as quickly as they possibly can. Currently holding a 5.5 game lead in the American League West. The reigning champs, the Rangers, drop into third place, 9 games out. Bill, when you look at the AL standings, what is it that shocks you from the West to the East?
Shocking, uh, not a lot. Things that are are starting to become interesting. The Orioles, well, let me just say the Orioles. I I knew they were going to be good. The Yankees have taken a nosedive a little bit, 3-7 in their last 10. The Blue Jays are a lot worse than I thought they'd be. The Tigers have fallen away. Um, the Guardians hold true. The Astros had a 7-game winning streak until last night, when they ran into the mighty Metropolitans, or the Grimace Mets. I'm sorry, when they ran into the Grimace Mets. But uh, the Mariners and Rangers missed their opportunity to step on the throat of the Astros. The Astros were 10.5 games back at the beginning of the month. They've cut that in half.
Right.
So pay attention to the Astros. And now the Angels have a mere 5-game winning streak. And so the Angels are beating the teams that they need to beat, the teams that are struggling, which is fantastic. So, yep, yep, yep.
Couldn't agree more. Bill, take us through the West.
Oh my
Take
God.
us through it.
Of course. So, ladies and gentlemen that love ATD, Sam puts these together. The Dodgers and Giants are playing each other, and this knucklehead puts a thing up there, Giants win. All right, I get it. I heard the message. I got it. Hmm. Don't wait until I get to the West.
Nice,
Uh,
nice walk-off win last night.
uh-huh,
Walk-off home
uh-huh,
run. It
uh-huh, uh-huh. Um, so Phillies are at the top of their division, but pay attention. They're getting some injury bugs hitting them, and it's scary what's going on with these guys. Um, Braves and the Grimace Mets are making their way. The Nationals were hot for a while, are starting to come back to earth. Uh, Pay attention to the Cardinals. Cardinals are no messing around. The Reds seem to get it going and then seem to throw the brakes on. The Pirates seem to get it going and then they throw the brakes on. Um, Out west, you've got the 2024 world champion Los Angeles Dodgers holding true to this. Yes, the Giants may have won last night, one of their 40 wins compared to 51 wins for the boys in blue. The good guys, the bad guys actually won last night. It's okay, whatever. The team that shocks me in the West is the Padres. The Padres are, even though they're 8-2 in their last 10, they when you look at their lineup, they have such a good lineup. They should be doing a lot better than they are. They should be a lot better than 4 games over 500. But again, the 2024 world champion Los Angeles Dodgers are leading the pack there. Um, thanks for the slide, Sam. Turnabout is fair play. ADT Nation, don't worry, I got you. We'll get back at Sam. Trust. He just poked the bear. Sam,
You
what do you
poke
think
the
about
bear
the
every
National League?
week. You poke the bear every week. So I don't need to hear it. Yeah, looking at the standings here, you know, Phillies Phillies, while being at the top, have always, in my opinion, been better as the season goes on when they turn into the underdog. Um, while it's great to see them at the top of the division, I see it the longer that they stay there, I get worried as it goes on, the longer they stay at the top. I'd love to see them take that top spot and ride with it, but it still makes me very nervous. Mets are doing what I went back. But I'm happy to see it. It's making that division much more competitive as we head into the All-Star break. Moving over to the Central, the Cardinals are shocking everyone. Everyone in baseball. They were not projected to be as good as they are being, and they are just taking it and saying, we are going to show all of you we are here to compete. And then moving into the West, it is going to be the dogfight of the summer in the West between the Padres, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks. I see these three teams fighting not physically with each other, but fighting tooth and nail to close this gap between the three of them and make some type of progression to tighten the total race in the NL West. I really think the West is going to be a fun division to watch this summer, and I'd love to hear the opinions of the ATD fans out there. Moving
Yeah.
into stats, though, uh, looking at the baseball leaders, Shohei is emerging as the stat leader on the hitting side. We all knew he was. Currently leading all of MLB with a 322 batting average. And over on the RBI leaders, you got Aaron Judge cranking it out with 79. Bill, our pitching expert, take us through the pitchers.
So Ranger Suarez has come back down to earth, right? But Seth Lugo and Chris Sale. Chris Sale is he was a hard knock loss pitcher this week. He pitched 7 innings, didn't walk anybody, had 11 strikeouts, and gave up one home run to Luis Robert and lost the game 1-0. Took the loss. He only gave up, I think, 4 hits total. 4 hits in 7 innings and one run should get you the W, or at worst, a no decision. But he ended up taking the L. But Carlos Rendon, Corbin Burns, these guys are all stepping into high gear. Unfortunately, because people have
I agree.
not
I mean,
kicked it into fifth gear, unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to see a 20-game winner this season. I thought we were. I just don't see it happening.
it would be very tough, I think, at this point to see that
Mm.
20-game winner. I think it would still be, I think it's still possible. Let's not take that out of the equation just yet. There is still a strong possibility we get a 20-game winner, but it's not going to be as many people as we thought, and it's going to be a lot tighter to get there than originally expected.
Yeah, yeah. Strikeouts, none of these surprised me. Tyler Glasnow's on fire. Davy Crockett is getting it done over in Chicago with all 21 wins that they have this season so far, and I think 62 losses. Dylan Cease is getting the strikeouts. He's not getting the wins. So yeah, these are all good names to watch.
As we're moving closer to trade season really coming to the top of the conversation. You and I both know, as well as the
Yeah,
baseball world knows, really starting like right before the All-Star break and even more after it, we know trades light up. Is Garrett Crockett now more of a trend we thought he was 2 weeks ago? You
no,
still think the
see,
Red Sox? You still think the White Sox retain him?
yeah,
No.
see, yeah, the White Sox right now have a decent lineup if they play small ball. They just have no pitching. And so if you get rid of Davy Crockett, the the only way that anything happens at that point for them is to agree that they're going to rebuild for the next 5 seasons. And you get prospects, you get other people in, and it's going to be a long, long winter for White Sox fans for the next 4 or 5 seasons. Sam, they're on pace to lose 120 games this season.
That's why well,
120 games.
but that's why I ask. You know, you're seeing how they're playing now. They're not bringing up youth. They don't have much in their farm system. So what do you do? Do you just keep playing the game you're playing, keep one guy or marquee players without having anything behind you to actually help build the team up? Or do you pull in Orioles and say, it is time we just break this wall down and just start from scratch and just build that farm system back up and get us up there? Because I think if you're a White Sox fan, you have to look at this and say, I would rather take some pain and suffering the next couple of years to know we're going to have a lot of great young guys coming up that could be put us in an Orioles situation down the road. I personally, I think the White Sox should go into a rebuild. You know, they're not a team, and we'll talk about this next week because we already talked about it before the show. It's not a team like the Giants who are kind of in that like midway point rebuild, like they're rebuilding, but they're still so they're trying to like make trades for some youth while losing guys on contracts that they're not going to retain. Whereas the White Sox have nothing. They have no one to back them up. Like they need to trade their good guys to get young guys. So
100%.
um that's just my opinion. Looking at the stolen base count, we are slowing it down, but still keeping pace to exceed 3,500 stolen bases this year. Ellie has kicked it back into gear. In the last 2 weeks, he's had, I think, 7 stolen bases. Bright, and still, no one is close to this man. Anything about Superman, Ellie De La
No,
Cruz, you got to say?
no, not at all. Not at all. I love Bobby Wood Jr. So I think I think that this dude's going to end up with 50 stolen bases this season, and because he plays for Kansas City, nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, I agree with that. Looking at the home runs, though, Bill, um, Bill was right. We can give Bill his flowers. Aaron Judge has hit 30 home runs. I am now predicting Aaron Judge will hit between 33 and 35 home runs before the All-Star break. Gunnar Henderson still holding a strong second, but Shohei has finally emerged on the home run leaderboard list as we knew he eventually would. 25 home runs. What has Shohei done in the last 2 weeks that has just propelled this trajectory of like hitting?
So when a player when a player gets traded or a player signs with a new team, especially if it's a new league. Forget the division, especially if it's a new league. So Shohei is now a Dodger. He's now in the National League. He's going to see teams that he didn't see for the last 6 years with the Angels on a consistent basis. So I think what Shohei's doing is he's finally getting comfortable to his surroundings. And I was at the Dodger game last week where he hit a home run. His plate approaches are a lot different now. They seem a lot more calm. And so, yeah, Shohei's definitely Shohei. So,
Nice. Love
Aaron
that.
Judge, Aaron Judge has a chance for between 36 and 40 home runs before the All-Star break. Because the All-Star break isn't for another like 12 or 13 days, and there's still another 11 or 12 games in there for the. I mean, what are the odds that he hits 5 home runs or 6 home runs in 12 games?
It's
Relatively
very
decent.
true. Look, I am not questioning that. I definitely think there is a possibility for it, but when you look at who they're playing over the next couple of games, they've got the Reds, who, while not playing great, not the easiest, they're going into the Red Sox, who are kicking it into another gear. You got the Rays, who, again, and not fantastic, but then they break with the Orioles, who, I can see it being a possibility, but I'm going to say it'll probably be closer to the 33 to 35 mark than the 36 to 40 mark.
Yeah,
That's just my opinion.
yeah,
Just based
that's
on,
good.
and that's, again, just based on the outlook of where their next 4 series are coming
Mhm. Yep.
from. Looking at the injury reports for this week, couple of guys out for the season. Big out for the seasons on Baltimore. Tyler Wells and Kyle Bradish out for the season with elbow injuries. Those are going to be huge losses for them. And then unfortunately for Bill, we've got a guy right there on the bottom of the screen. Bill, you want to talk about that one?
Well, it honestly just real quick because I know we only got 3 minutes left in the show. Um, just real quick, Mookie Betts is out until the 30th. If there was ever a time where the Dodgers could do it, it's now. Um, you have the All-Star break, you have an 8-game lead. Now's the time. Uh, if it were beginning of the season where you're just trying to jump out to a lead, or if it were September, yeah, now's the time.
You with the kind of struggling Mookie's had at shortstop, is this a good do you feel it's good to give some of the young guys with more natural ability at that position the chance to play there, where maybe
So
it gives the
Miguel,
opportunity to move Mookie back into, say, right field?
no, he'll never go back to right field with Jason Hayward out there. But Miguel Rojas is an upgrade defensively. Offensively, he's not an upgrade. So it's kind of splitting hairs there. The addition of Calvin Biggio has helped over at third base, so that's good.
Makes sense. And as we go into it, Bill, bring us through the great podcast schedule you got coming up
So
this week.
this week we got a great podcast schedule. Chris and Isaac are on Monday. They're new to the clubhouse. Eric, the peanut guy up in the Pacific Northwest, is on Tuesday. Wednesday, Freddie, he's a new Orioles fan. Thursday, we got the ladies' night. You got Delaney and Rachel on one side of the diamond against Mets Meg and Jen on the other side of the diamond. And then you got 4 Angel fans talking about the 2024 season and who's strong, who they drop. The ITL, obviously, there's no show on Thursday because of 4th of July. Everybody enjoy yourselves. I'm on. Then you got Jim McGuire on. Then you got Jackson on. And then you've got me. Megan's got Friday off. So we're going to have a great time. Dan,
Awesome
wrap us up.
sauce. Well, as always, we appreciate you joining us on ATD every Saturday. Make sure you are checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, podcasts, and merchandise. Get there and sign up for the T-shirt club. It is such an amazing opportunity to get some fantastic clothing for not just Top Fan Rivalry, but for some of the great shows that are a to make sure you get there. Use the code ATD for 10% off. Bill, any final comments for the fans out there?
Nope. Let's go. Go fight, win. Talk to you guys soon.
Let's finish this up as we always do. Thank you so much for joining us on ATD this morning, and we will see you on the field next week. Have a great rest of your weekend.